Today I'm going to show you how to work the next knitting stitch, which is actually the purl stitch. And by knitting an entire row and then purling an entire row, we get this nice fabric, which is a stockinette fabric is what it's called, stockinette stitch. And this is typically what you see sweaters made out of mostly. It does have a tendency to roll in on itself, as you can see. So you would either want to create a border or you would want to block it after you have made your stitches or finished your project. So when we purl, we actually do the exact opposite of what we do when we knit. So for knitting, we keep the yarn in the back. For purling, we're going to keep the yarn in the front of the work. Knitting, we insert from front to back. Purling, we're going to insert from back to front. So we're crossing in front. And then when we wrap around, we want to start from the top and then go around the needle to the bottom. And then we do the same thing with knitting, where we're going underneath the stitch that we inserted. So we go under and kind of push back, and then it comes off the left hand needle. So again, we go from back to front, and at this point you can kind of tighten up that first stitch if it was a little bit loose, and you're going to wrap the yarn around. So we go in front of the needle, so we start from the top to loop around, and then we push back and it comes off. And our yarn is always in the front. So insert, wrap around, bring it back, and then off. So in, around, back, and off. And then if we want to do our continental, so the yarn is still in the front, we still want to wrap it around from top to bottom, and then we want to bring it through. So we go in, I usually hold it down with my thumb, and then go back. Hold it down with the thumb and bring it through. So you really want to make sure it wraps around top to the back. So we go in, top, and then around. Okay. Now for our stockinette fabric, which is this flat fabric, what we have to do is we have to alternate rows. So we just purled a row, and now we're going to go back and we're going to knit a row. So you can see that underneath my needle is flat. That's the knitting side. On the back it's bumpy. That's the purl side. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to knit a row. And we're just knitting normal. And now we're going to turn. We want to keep the yarn in the front because we're purling again. And you'll see the back side is the bumpy side. That's the side that we're going to purl on. So again, if the yarn's kind of up top to begin with, just like with knitting, we're just going to bring it down. We go in, we're going to wrap around, bring it through and off, go in, wrap around, back through and off. And you're going to continue this for as long as you are doing your stockinette fabric. So every single stitch or on this row will be purl, the next row will be knit, and again the main thing to remember is that when you purl, the yarn has to be in the front, and when you knit, the yarn has to be in the back. So now when we turn, and again we have the flat fabric, we know that now we're going to do a knit row. So we make sure our yarn is in the back, and then you go ahead and knit. And you're going to continue that for as long as you want to, or as long as your pattern tells you to. And that is purling with the stockinette stitch.